Hey everybody, Garcia here. Today I'm going to be covering these Investigator Starter Decks for Arkham Horror the card game. I'll be doing a specific video for each of them. And today, or right now rather, I'm going to be doing the video for Nathaniel Cho, who is the Guardian Investigator, a heavy-hitting boxing character who can definitely bring the pain. Let's go ahead and take a look at him. So here we've got Nathaniel. He is going to be, of course, a Guardian, which means he is going to be a heavy-hitting character. A criminal, warden, he's got his ability that says when you deal damage to an enemy by an event or a fight ability on an event, you deal an additional damage limit once per phase. Very good. And then the Elder Sign ability, +1, if the skill test is successful during an attack, and you'll be doing plenty of that, then return an event from your discard pile to your hand. So draw a card, but you get to pick it, of course, from your discard pile. So very good, extra damage, extra cards, very straightforward. This is what you want to be doing as you are learning the game, and I think this cycle is, in part anyway, meant to be about introducing players to the game without having to go through the rigmarole of deck building. Let's take a look at some of his cards. We're going to begin with his signature card, then signature weakness, basic weakness, and then 5 cards that come in his deck that I'm just going to highlight. So we begin with Randall Cho here, who is his brother. He's an ally. He has an ability, a free trigger ability that says when he enters play, you heal 3 damage, or you search your deck and discard pile for a weapon asset. You play it, paying its cost, and then you shuffle your deck if you looked through it, of course. Very good. You're going to need a lot of money. If you intend to do that weapon ability, you are going to need to pay for Randall and pay for the weapon. If you've got the money, of course, you are saving a lot of actions by doing this. Not only are you drawing a card, you are playing a card. That right there is 2 individual actions, one of them which you don't normally have access to anyway, which is plucking the card, finding specifically what you are looking for. But healing 3 is certainly nothing to sneeze at either. Now, to be fair, you're very beefy, so it should not be too much of a problem, but very good card there. And then we've got here the signature weakness is Tommy Malloy. This is going to be a hunter, and this is when he would take any amount of damage, you reduce that by 1. Not too bad. He hits for 2, but he is, not too nasty. He does have the hunter keyword on him. And I should point out, flip him over here, that this deck, just like all the other ones in the cycle, has very straightforward and simple deck building rules here. Guardian cards up to level 5, neutral cards up to level 5, and it lets you know a little bit about Nathaniel, who is a boxer. That's his profession, and a lot of the cards in his deck will have to do with that. Will show artwork of boxing and that sort of thing. All right, now the new basic weakness here is this self-destructive basic weakness, Revelation. Put it into your threat area, and then it has a force trigger. When you do 1 or more damage to an enemy, you take 1 damage. Now, I have to say, I think this one, especially in this deck, is pretty nasty. And you are going to want to spend those 2 actions to get rid of that self-destructive card. This is going to stack up after a while. But again, I do like that in this deck, it feels very thematic, and that's something I'm hoping to see when an Investigator deck is released, pre-built, and ready to go, that the theme gels. All right, let's take a look at some of the cards. We're going to begin with one that very much fits Nathaniel here, and that is his boxing gloves. You're going to get +1 strength while fighting, brings him up to a 6. Absolute beast stat. And then here, after you defeat an enemy, you exhaust the gloves, you search the top 6 cards of your deck for a spirit event, and you add it to your hand, then you shuffle your deck. Very interesting that this goes fishing for a spirit event. You need to build towards that, of course, if you are actually deck building, but it's an interesting ability. I will say this, as you'll see, takes up both of your hands, so that's certainly a drawback there. So if you are not utilizing that second ability very effectively, I don't think this is something you would put into a deck you're building. But if you want this combination, then yes, absolutely. And again, thematically, I'm just liking what's going on here. We've got this card, which is from a new sort of cycle that shows up across all of these investigators, and that is an event, a free event, that when you play it will trigger something, an investigate, a fight, an evade, or something, and when it begins, you will get a couple of resources. This one, of course, is for the Guardians, so when you fight, and when that action begins, you get 2 resources. I like it, clean, straightforward, very interesting, free event there. We've got this one here, get over here. This one, for 2 resources, does quite a bit. It's going to engage, which again is situational, but it might matter, and especially if you are playing multiplayer, that'll matter. You then fight, you choose a non-elite enemy at your location or a connecting location. You move that enemy to your location, you engage it, and you attack it, right? That's the breakdown. So it's not just engage and fight where you are. It's choosing an enemy that is at another location, possibly, pulling it over to you, or rather, moving that enemy to your location, engaging it, and attacking it. I think it's pretty good. If the party gets separated a little bit, somebody else is being bothered or hindered by a baddie, as long as they're non-elite, you can pull them over to your location and have a swing at them. So there you go. Speaking of a 1-2 punching, here we've got a 1-2 punch fight. You get +1 for this attack. If you succeed, you may fight that enemy again, and you get +2 that time, and +1 damage. So again, it's all about gaining those actions. For a single action here, you ideally want to get 2 fights on this person, possibly 3 damage on that baddie. So I like it. Very clean, straightforward. And then here we've got an ally, this Greta Wagner character, an ally, a hunter. You get +1 strength as well. As you can tell, very focused on strength. He can be attacking for a huge amount, or at least trying to pass that test very easily. And after you defeat an enemy, you exhaust this character, you deal 1 damage to her, and then you discover a clue at her location. Okay, getting a little clue gathering. That's a lot of what you're doing in this game, is attacking or evading, and then clue gathering. She's going to let you do both. I really like this ally, though it is very expensive, as you can tell at 5 there. Likely worth it. You know, it's going to be your signature ally, but it is very, very expensive. Still, one I enjoy. All right, let's take a look at some of the cards that come in the deck that allow you to deck build. Here we're taking a look at Lesson Learned to level up to 2 XP. This is a card that is in his deck already at level 0, just so you know, but this is a leveled up one. So fast, play after you take damage from an enemy. Discover 2 clues at your location. Huge, huge card. I really like this one. Getting 2 clues for having somebody fight you anyway, which is at some point going to happen. Yes, you might have to hang on to this card for a while you wait for that to happen. But discovering 2 clues, you can go camp somewhere, have a baddie show up, take that hit on the chin, and then reap the rewards. Here we've got this Galvanize, fast, play only during your turn. You get to ready a Guardian asset you control, and you can take an additional action during this turn, which can only be used to fight. Pretty simple, straightforward. Readying something is good. Getting the extra action is very good as well. And this itself isn't an action because it's fast. So there you go. You're just making up that economy. Mano a mano. Play only as your first action. Deal 2 damage to an enemy engaged with you. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. I like this, especially obviously free, because you can just shrug somebody off of you. If it was fast, it'd be insane, but it still is going to be an action. Even if it says fast, play only at the beginning of your turn or something like that, that'd be possibly, it's just too good. But it'll still be an action, and you're hopefully, if you can kill something with 2 hits and just get it off of you, then you don't have to try to pass the test. You don't need to pull from the chaos bag. So I like this one. We've got here a souped up physical training, which is a classic card, of course. This one with a new twist on it, and this idea of having 2 uses on it. And they replenish, though, at the start of each round. Now you can spend a resource from your resource pool or from physical training, and you get +1 to one of those 2 stats, your offensive and defensive stats there. I don't know if at 4 XP this is something I would necessarily put on a lot of decks myself, but I like it. I think it's a neat idea that you can keep building these up. One thing I don't know, the uses keyword technically should, when all the uses, all the, the whatever it is, in this case resources, clear off of it, this goes away normally, anything that has uses. So I don't know how this works, if that's an FAQ question or if this simply will stick around. Even if I spend both, they will replenish. Not sure how that works. That's, again, kind of an FAQ thing. And then lastly, I want to highlight this. Classic Overpower, souped up and given to the Guardian class. Overpower is a basic card normally. Now for 2 XP, you get an extra symbol here. It gets locked into being, well, Guardian. And now the text has another ability here, a possibility, let's call it. Max 1, if you succeed, draw a card. That was the basic text of the original Overpower. But now you get 2 cards instead if you succeed by 2 or more. They've done this for many of these classic skill cards, given them a specific type, in this case Guardian, and leveled them up a little bit. And the one in this deck, of course, is this one, the offensive one, which makes sense. So there you go. That is Nathaniel Cho. I have to say, I think in this cycle, and the purpose of this cycle, he is my favorite. He's very strong. He's very straightforward. I like that very much in this game anyway. But also, if these are investigator packs that have the word starter between those 2 words, as you see right here, starter deck, part of that at least suggests that this is meant to be a shuffle up and go kind of deck. And I think Nathaniel Cho here does that the best out of the cycle. So he's my favorite from the 5 that are available, just because I like it, just because I like the idea of him being a boxer and dealing with this darkness as well, but also just because I think it fills the role of being something that's easy to jump into quite easily. So definitely recommend him unless you are very much an advanced player in the game, though I still think there's plenty of cards here you can use to deck build. But yeah, if you're just wanting to learn the game and you're picking up a single deck, I think this is a very good one. You're going to pick up, I think, 2 decks because solo, he might struggle a little bit with those clues. But I think this should be one of those 2 if you're playing with 2 players the game cooperatively. So there you go. Nathaniel Cho, great deck. Like it a lot. And that's going to do it for this one. Make sure you check out the other videos in this series talking about the other Investigator Starter decks. And I will see you on the next one.